What to photograph in 2023? Hello, Photopiller, Rafael, the bar here. 2022 has been packed with amazing photo opportunities. We photographed sunrise and sunsets, the moon, supermoon, the Milky Way, star trails, solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, meteor showers, and many more. Well, these are just a few photos that the Photopills tribe has imagined, planned, and captured in 2022. I'll show you many more in another video, and a very special video in January, where I reveal the best photo of 2022, which is awarded with the Photopills of the Year and a cash prize of $3,000. But that will be in January. Now we're about to enter 2023, and the year is jam-packed with photo opportunities. So let's get started. Let's go to Photopills and let's check the best photo opportunities in 2023. January. The quadrantid meteor shower is peaking on the night that goes from January 3 to January 4. Around 71 meteors are expected at the peak. Unfortunately, the 93% moon phase will block most of the meteors throughout the night. So you have to wait for the moon to set to start shooting like crazy. The quadrantid is a northern hemisphere meteor shower. Unfortunately, it is not visible from the southern hemisphere. On January 7th, we'll have the first full moon of the year. Notice that depending on where you are on Earth, because of the time zone difference, the full moon might be on the 6th. And this may occur too without events, so use Photopills to check the exact date and time that event occurs for your location. If you wish to photograph the full moon, for example, aligned with a cool subject you like, I recommend you to plan your full moon shots for the full moon date and for the day before and the day after. The first reason being that maybe the alignment might be better, but most important, the natural light at the time of the photo might be better too, because it's not the same to photograph the moon during golden hour, during blue hour, at night, or during daytime. If you wish to learn how to plan your photos of the full moon, watch this video. On January 21st, we have the new moon. So, if you wish to photograph the star trails and Milky Way, the night sky with no moon, it's a great time. The week around the new moon, it's the perfect moment. In January, the galactic center, the brightest part of the Milky Way, will be below the horizon. It won't be visible at night. But you can still photograph the thin part of the Milky Way, which is super cool too. And again, if you wish to learn how to plan your Milky Way photos, watch this video. Okay, in January there are a few more cool events to photograph, and here you have a table with all the dates. There will be conjunctions on the moon with Mars twice, Mercury, Saturn, Venus and Jupiter. It's when the planets will be very close to the moon. So it will be a great opportunity to photograph the moon and the planets together. Also, Mercury will be at its greatest western elongation from the Sun. This means that the planet will be further away from the Sun, which is the best time to view and photograph the planet. Look for the planet in the western sky after sunset. And finally, depending where you are on Earth, you'll be able to enjoy the occultation of Mars behind the moon. And in January, as every month of the year, every day we have a sunrise and a sunset, providing us with great photo opportunities. So use Photopills to figure out the sunrise and sunset directions and start planning like crazy. By the way, here you have a powerful video to help you plan powerful sunrise and sunset shots. Watch it. February. Very quickly. On February 5th we have the full moon, and on February 20th we have the new moon. If we go to the planner, we'll see that the galactic center becomes visible in February in the southeast directions, which is pretty cool. February is a great month to photograph Milky Way when it's super low in the sky. It's great for shooting panoramas of the Milky Way. And if you tap on the 90R here, you will visualize my studio and where the Milky Way is gonna be, the galactic center. And look at how low is the Milky Way above the horizon. This is the horizon. Awesome. Also here we have the Polaris, so use the 90R to also plan your star trail shots. These blue circumferences you see show you the star trails pattern you'll get depending on the direction you're shooting. Great. And in February we'll have 4 conjunctions of the moon with the planets, with Mercury, Venus, Jupiter and Mars, and depending where you are on Earth, you'll be able to enjoy the occultation behind the moon of Jupiter and Mars. March. The full moon will be on March the 7th, and the new moon on March 21st. March is a fantastic month for panoramas of the Milky Way and diagonals of the Milky Way, with the core, with the galactic center, due east-southeast. Also, March and April are great months to photograph the zodiacal light. This is the reflection produced by the scattering of sunlight due to the particles traveling in the solar system. In the northern hemisphere, at this time of the year, it is visible in the west, at the end of the astronomical twilight, in the direction of sunset, the thick orange line you see on the map. On the contrary, in the southern hemisphere, the zodiacal light is visible in the east, before the astronomical twilight begins. Before dawn, in the direction of sunrise, the thick yellow line you see on the map. Auroras! From January to April and from September to December, it's a great time to photograph the Aurora Borealis and the Aurora Australis. We're actually planning a cool few Photopills expeditions to photograph the auroras with Rachel John Ross. Make sure to subscribe to our newsletter if you want to join us. I'm gonna leave a link to the newsletter in the description of this video and in the first comment below. Subscribe, and if you want to know where to go and how to photograph the auroras, watch this video. In March, there will be 4 conjunctions of the Moon with the planet, with Saturn, Jupiter, Venus and Mars. And depending on where you're on Earth, you'll enjoy the occultation of Venus behind the Moon. April. The full moon will be on April the 6th. And the new moon on April the 20th. On the same date, in Australia and Oceania, there will be a very cool hybrid solar eclipse, meaning that depending on where you go to photograph the eclipse, you will be able to photograph a total solar eclipse or an annular solar eclipse. And please let me anticipate that on October 14th, there will be another annular solar eclipse, but this time crossing the states, Central America and South America. And let me announce that we're working on a super cool Photopills expedition to photograph the annular eclipse on October 14th. So please subscribe to the newsletter to stay tuned. And if you wish to learn how to plan and photograph solar eclipses, watch this video. In April, as the day goes by, we'll find the Milky Way, the galactic center, high and high in the sky. April is a fantastic month for panoramas of the Milky Way and diagonals of the Milky Way, with the galactic center visible in the southeast directions. As I said before, April is also a great month to photograph the zodiacal light. Latest meteor shower peaking on the night that goes from April 22nd to April 23rd. Around 17 meteors per hour are expected at the peak. The moon, with a phase of 8.5%, will be below under the horizon for the whole night, most of the night, allowing us to photograph the meteor shower without moon for about 6 hours. The latest meteor shower is visible from both hemispheres, but being a bit weaker in the southern hemisphere. Perfecto! Also, in April, we'll have 4 conjunctions of the moon with Saturn, Mercury, Venus and Mars. And we'll see Mercury at its greatest eastern elongation. Look for the planet in the western sky after sunset. May. On May the 5th, we'll enjoy a full moon. And depending where you are on Earth, you'll be able to enjoy and photograph a penumbral lunar eclipse. It's when the penumbral shadow of Earth covers the moon. It causes a subtle darkness on the moon's surface. Where is it visible and when? Let's figure out. On the Photopills planner, tap on the map settings button next to the plus, and then switch off the meteor shower layer and tap on the eclipse layer. Then look for the May the 5th penumbral eclipse, lunar eclipse. Go back to the map, swipe the top panel until you get to the eclipse panel, and if I zoom out, I'll see where the eclipse is visible. So as you see, it's visible in Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia and Oceania. It's not visible in the Americas. And on the top panel you have the time of the phase that will be visible where you're placing the red pin, so you know based on the red pin position where the eclipse will occur and what time. So based on the red pin position, you'll know the time the eclipse begins. Oops, and by the way, I need to switch on the moon information on the map, so tap on the map settings button, tap on the moon layer and the icon to switch it on, so I can see where the eclipse will occur also on the map, so I know at all time with this thin blue line where the eclipse will occur. Cool. The Eta Aquarius meteor shower is peaking on the night that goes from May the 6th to May the 7th. So this is around the full moon days, so the Eta Aquarius unfortunately will be pretty poor this year, because this huge moon above the horizon will wash out most of the meteors. The Eta Aquarius is visible from the southern hemisphere, and it's also visible in the northern hemisphere, but at a much lower rate. May is another great month to photograph the Milky Way and its core. It's great for photographing panoramas of the Milky Way and diagonals of the Milky Way. And the galactic center, the core, will be visible in the southeast directions. Milky Way is starting to get vertical and more vertical, but you cannot photograph it completely vertical, at least in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, of course you can. Regarding the conjunctions, in May we have 5 moon and planet conjunctions. We have a conjunction with Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus and Mars. And depending where you are on Earth, you'll be able to enjoy the occultation of Jupiter behind the moon. Let me drink a bit, because we go to June. In June, the full moon is on the 4th, and the new moon is on the 18th. At the end of June, in the northern hemisphere, you can start to photograph the Milky Way completely straight in the sky. And you'll see the core in the south-southwest directions. The lucky ones living in the southern hemisphere, you know that you can photograph the Milky Way core almost throughout the year. You know, when it's low in the sky, diagonals and vertical. Also, June is a great month to photograph panoramas of the Milky Way and diagonals of the Milky Way with the core of the Milky Way due south. In June, we'll have 5 conjunctions of the moon with the planet, with Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus and Mars. And we'll see Venus at its greatest eastern elongation. Look for the planet in the western sky just after sunset. July. The full moon is on July the 3rd, and the new moon is on July the 17th. In July, the Milky Way gets vertical and more vertical in the southwest directions. It is also a great month to photograph diagonals of the Milky Way with the galactic center visible in the south. The Delta Quadrids, depending where you are on Earth, is peaking on the night that goes from July the 29th to the 30th, or from the 30th to the 31st. Around 14 meteors per hour are expected at the peak. The moon will have a big phase of 89%, so you'll have to wait for the moon to set to start shooting the meteors. If you're lucky, you might get 1 hour or so without moon. And the Delta Quadrids is visible from the southern hemisphere. It's also visible in the northern hemisphere, but at a lower rate. Regarding July's moon-planet conjunctions, we have 5, with Saturn, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus and Mars. And we are in August. In 2023 there will be 2 supermoons, and both occur in August. The supermoon appears in the Photopills moon calendar in a yellow circumference. The first supermoon will occur on August the 1st, and the second supermoon will occur on August 31st. The Perseus 2023 is gonna be an amazing year for the Perseus, because we won't have any moon. Perseus are peaking in the night that goes from August 12th to August 13th. Around 75 meters per hour are expected at the peak. The moon, with a phase of only 10%, will be below the horizon for almost the whole night. And the Perseus meteor shower is visible from both hemispheres. It's more powerful in the northern hemisphere though. The new moon will be on August 16th. In August, the galactic center is visible in the southwest directions. In the northern hemisphere, you can photograph Milky Way and the core when it's low in the sky. It's a great time to photograph diagonals of the Milky Way, and also it's a great month to photograph vertical compositions of the Milky Way. Conjunctions. In August there will be 5 conjunctions of the moon with the planets, with Saturn twice, with Jupiter, Mercury and Mars. Also on August the 9th, Mercury will be at its greatest eastern elongation from the Sun. Look for the planet when it's low in the sky, in the western sky, after sunset. And on August 27th, Saturn will be at opposition. The planet will be brighter than any other date throughout the year. September. The new moon will be on September 15th, and the galactic center is visible in the southwest directions for a short period of time. It's a fantastic time to photograph the Milky Way and its core completely vertical. September and October are also great months to photograph the zodiacal light. In the northern hemisphere at this time of the year, the zodiacal light is visible in the east, before the astronomical twilight begins, before dawn, in the direction of sunrise, the thick yellow line you see on the map. On the contrary, in the southern hemisphere, the zodiacal light is visible in the west, at the end of the astronomical twilight, in the direction of sunset, the thick orange line you see on the map. Also, September is the month you can start photographing the auroras, the Aurora Borealis and the Aurora Australis, and you can keep photographing them till April the following year. The full moon will be on September 29th. And in September we'll have 4 conjunctions of the moon with the planets, with Jupiter, Mercury, Mars and Saturn. Also, Mercury will be at its greatest western elongation, and Neptune will be at opposition, meaning that Neptune will be visible for most of the night. October. On October 14th, there is a spectacular annular solar eclipse. It's a great opportunity to photograph the ring of fire around the moon. The eclipse will be visible in the States, Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Colombia, and Brazil. And as I said before, I'm planning to be in the United States to photograph it with a bunch of crazy photopillers. It turns out that the new moon is also on October 14th, and the slowly Milky Way season is coming to an end. The good news is that the Milky Way core is still visible, super vertical, but for a short period of time. Also, as I said before, in September and October you can photograph the zodiacal light. Okay, the Orion's Meteor Shower is peaking in the night that goes from October 21st to 22nd. 18 meteors per hour are expected at the peak, and the moon with a phase of 50% will be below the horizon for quite a bit of time throughout the night. Nice. Once the moon sets, the conditions will be perfect, and the Orionids are visible from both hemispheres. On October 28th, we have the full moon and a partial lunar eclipse. Cool! The partial lunar eclipse occurs when the strongest shadow of the Earth partially covers the moon. This is when you can clearly see parts of the moon disappearing under the Earth's ombre shadow. The eclipse will be visible in Europe, Asia, Middle East, and Oceania. Conjunctions. In October we have 4 conjunctions of the moon with the planets, twice with Jupiter, and with Venus and Saturn. Also on October 23rd, Venus will be at its greatest western elongation from the Sun. November. The new moon is on November 13th. The Milky Way core is not visible in November. But of course you can photograph the thinner part of the Milky Way, which is super cool because the Milky Way, as you know, is visible every day and night. It's just the core that has its own season. The Leonid's Meteor Shower will peak on the night that goes from November 17th to the 18th. 10 meteors per hour are expected at the peak, more or less, and the moon with a phase of 25% will be below the horizon for most of the night. Nice. And the Leonid's Meteor Shower is visible from both hemispheres, from the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The full moon is on November 27th, and in November we'll enjoy 4 conjunctions of the moon with the planets, with Venus, Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter. We'll also enjoy the occultation of Venus behind the moon. Also, on November 3rd, Jupiter will be at opposition. And on November 13th is Uranus that will be in opposition. This occurs when the planets lie opposite to the Sun in the sky, allowing us to enjoy the planets throughout the night. And December. The new moon is on December 13th. Again, the Milky Way core is not visible in December, but nothing prevents you to go and photograph the Milky Way at night. The Gemini's Meteor Shower will be fantastic in 2023. The Meteor Shower will peak on the night that goes from December 14th to December 15th, and 170 meteors per hour are expected, which is awesome. The moon with only 5% of phase will be below the horizon for the whole night, so the show will be tremendous. And the Geminis are visible from both hemispheres. Unfortunately, I think we won't be that lucky with the Earth seeds. Let's switch on the Earth seeds, tap on Meteor Shower, tap on the Earth seeds here, and as you see, the power of the Earth seeds is much lower, and the moon will be above the horizon for most of the night. You know, the Earth seeds are peaking on the night that goes from December 22nd to December 23rd. Around 7 meters per hour expected, but we'll have a pretty strong moon. The moon phase will be 85%. Ouch! And the Earth seeds are only visible from the northern hemisphere. Fortunately, this meteor shower is not visible from the southern hemisphere. And on December 27th, we'll enjoy the last full moon of the year. December will also offer us 4 conjunctions of the moon with the planets, with Venus, Mercury, Saturn, and Jupiter. And on December the 4th, Mercury will be at its greatest eastern elongation. Now, if you wish to learn more about these events, if you wish to learn how to photograph them and how to plan them, I invite you to download our super detailed astronomical event photography guide. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video and in the first comment below. Download it. And if you know any other cool event to photograph, please leave a comment below. Let me know. And if you like this video, give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next Wednesday in another video. And remember, that you have the power to imagine, plan, and shoot legendary photos. Bye.